I don't
Look,
know.
it's in '81 I read Soljenitizen, Archipelago Gulag.
Really?
Yes, that's
In Russia,
1981.
in Soviet Union.
No, actually outside of Russia. But I remember that in 19.
You had heard of him? I mean, he was.
Of course, no. Everybody heard about Solzhenitsyn and Sakharov, but those were like Voldemort, the names not to be mentioned. So that's
Right. That's
the
where I
enemies,
wondered.
the
Yeah,
enemies
yeah.
of the state. So, but naturally, people I spoke to, they had very different views about Sakharov, and while it still was difficult to understand exactly what they were standing for, so we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have the
have
same
the
flow of
internet.
information.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's even when you look at the chess side of my life. So I had to collect the data by just by going through the magazines, and chess books were quite rare. To find a good book, you had to dig deep, and my mother still keeps some of my notebooks, where I had to record some of these games, analyze, and it's all handwriting. It's very hard for kids today to actually understand. Instead of sliding your finger on the screen, you had to do all these diagrams. I printed the diagrams. I had an interesting set, where you had this. You put a diagram, chess diagram, and there was a green and white, and then I had the pieces, blue and red, so that you can actually then put chess pieces, so just to have diagrams. So it's all printing. Yeah.
So what of Solzhenitsyn? I'm curious though. What did you read first? Do you remember?
No, it's the Archipelago Gulag. So that's
the Gulag.
Gulag. Yes, and that was the beginning of my sort of
You read it
like
in Russian, or did you?
No, in Russian.
In Russian.
No, I read all
So
the
you
books.
got it abroad
But
in
I
Russian.
also, in 1980, I already had a few books, that is just, that helped me to understand the difference. So I was reading, the books. I could buy the books while being abroad that were not, available in Russia. And also, I think there were moments in the Soviet Union that actually also helped me to move in the right direction. Because I always had the kind of debate with my, diehard communist grandfather, who was a member of the Communist Party since 1931.
Wow.
And he spent his life. He was in oil industry, and in mid 70s. It's late 70s actually. He was quite confused because he has been expecting, communism. He spent his life, working for this bright future, and instead, we had, food rations. And then the invasion of Afghanistan was a problem. He just couldn't understand it, and then you could see it as the disappearance of some, many food items, from our stores, and as the long-time party member, he had this sort of special privilege to go and buy, this food, and it was difficult for him to sort of to contemplate all this, and then the Soviet authorities, they started jamming Radio Liberty and Voice of America, and we had big debates in our tiny dining room. On the wall we had a big political map of the world. So and just we looked at this map, and we always had the conversation, and it was more and more difficult for him to actually resist this pressure. Because I was young, dynamic, and I said, look, and why they're jamming? If they're convinced, it's a right decision, and he died in 1981, so we were very close because he loved me and he helped me a lot because I grew up with my father. But it was quite an interesting moment. And 79, 80, 81. So it's more and more people actually saw that the regime was, it was no longer vibrant as it used to be. Yes. So
and you had that succession of elderly leaders, which must have looked a little bit
Brezhnev looked already
ridiculous.
like a complete joke,